Yes, Your Honor, good morning. Jeremy Azwara, plaintiff father in Purpro.
All right. We're here today on a status conference. There was a prior order that addressed some reunification counseling. Mr. Schraw, anything to report on this matter?
Unfortunately, I don't have a lot to report, Your Honor. Ms. Sewell, or Ms. Connor, did work diligently to find a reunification counselor. She had found two. Information was provided to Mr. Azwara in regards to those counselors. He promptly, in some way, shape, or form, alienated himself from those counselors. One of the counselors wanted to get, or one of the counselors that Ms. Sewell found wanted Mr. Azwara to engage in a sex offender risk assessment, which under the circumstances I don't think is an unreasonable request. Mr. Azwara would not do that. And then probably a month or so later, maybe a month and a half later, I had contact with the practice administrator at Real Life Counseling who had reached out to me and told me that everything was set up to have counseling begin with the child and Mr. Azwara, but I had no knowledge that that was going to happen, nor did my client. Apparently, Mr. Azwara represented that we had agreed to use the counselor there, but that was not, in fact, the case. That individual, or that counselor, is frankly just not in line with Ms. Sewell's beliefs and the child's religious upbringing. Best I can tell, that counselor identifies as non-binary, and that's somewhat concerning for the reasons I just stated, but also under the circumstances of this case. The neurodivergence
quickly reveals deep disagreements between the parties. What should have been a straightforward update on reunification counseling instead exposes conflicting accounts and mounting frustration over stalled progress.
Gender issues, I think, are maybe a problematic personality or issue for the counselor to have. So, unfortunately, we are still searching for a counselor that everybody can live with.
Thank you, Mr. Azwara. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I have a different perspective on what happened. The counselor that I had set up, I actually got the name and number from Mr. Shaw himself. He sent that over. I did set up an appointment, and there was email communication that went without any response back. This was at the end of March. I went ahead and proceeded with it. I had my initial intake April 1st. I asked them, when can we get Liliana in? With the assumption that everything was okay, considering that, they provided the number themselves. They reached out on April 3rd and said they had spoke with Christina and that Liliana was scheduled for an appointment for her initial intake on April 16th. Come April 15th, all of a sudden, we're rejecting the counselor. We're canceling appointments. That's obviously a whole 12 days went by of no communication, no contact. So I think it's a little misleading to say that I've alienated myself. So that's where we're at. The counselor, she was excited, she was empathetic, she was concerned, she was confident, and she was ready to take us on.
Attorneys explain repeated efforts to secure a reunification counselor, yet each attempt encounters obstacles. Disputes emerge over counselor qualifications, professional recommendations, and concerns about whether appropriate therapeutic support can be established.
It's been a very daunting task to find counselors up here that were willing to work with a high conflict situation, court orders, potential alienating situations. And so it's been very difficult. So the two people that I got were from Mr. Shaw, were Lauren, and then Stephanie. So I did reach out and I spoke with both of them, and we did talk However, Lauren was available quickest, and I wanted to get in, as fast as possible. It's already been going on almost 2 months. So that never happened. I reached out to ask why. I was up until today. Now I was not informed of any reasons why they canceled, and the reasons why they canceled. So I'm just very confused. There's a PPO in place that says I'm sorry. Okay.
So it sounds like you might have had an issue with one of their proposed counselors as well. Is that true?
Well, I had only an issue because one of the counselors stated that they wanted me and Liliana to cut all ties with our current counselors and just be solely devoted to them. And that's the issue that I had because I'm working independently, personally, with my own personal counselor for the past year. And I thought that was and I did hear from other counselors that's kind of unethical to make you kick out your own counselor that's helped you. So that's kind of the reason why I didn't go with Stephanie in the first place, but I did solidify everything with Lauren at the real life. So that's why I'm confused because, I got the number from them.
All right. Well, I don't.
The father disputes claims that he hindered counseling efforts. He argues that appointment had already been scheduled and progress was underway before objections suddenly surfaced, leaving him confused and discouraged.
My counselor can stop a different counselor. And oftentimes, as, like you said, reunification counseling is a separate counselor than the party's personal counselors, and you're certainly always allowed to have any personal counselor that you want.
Agreed.
And kind of each side vetoing one counselor. Have there been any additional efforts made, sir, since that time to find somebody else to do it? It doesn't have to be in-person counseling. It can be in the state of Michigan to do it by Zoom, or anyone licensed in the state of Michigan.
Well, I understand that, but the whole point to reunification is for me and Liliana to be together and talk to each other, not just be on the phone. That's important, is to look at each other, hug, go through all the emotions and repair all this stuff.
Where are you at with trying to find a third option?
I don't know, because I'm in a position where everybody that I'm going to find, are they just going to find some reason to reject it? And that's truly what I believe, is that it's just
They've rejected counselors so far, correct?
There's only one counselor that we have objected to. There have been 2 other counselors that were proposed to Mr. Azuara. One, he had some sort of inappropriate communication with, and the counselor decided that she did not want to participate or engage with Mr. Azuara. And I believe the other one wanted the sex offender risk assessment, which Mr. Azuara would not do. I don't know why Mr. Azuara thinks I gave him this Lauren's number. I didn't. I have all of my emails pulled up in front of me. I haven't had any phone communication with Mr. Azuara, so I don't know why he thinks that. I also, I question kind of whether or not he's remembering things accurately or perceiving things.
The judge explores both sides' concerns regarding counselor selection. Questions arise about professional boundaries, treatment expectations, and whether either party's objections are preventing meaningful movement toward reunification.
Accurately, because as you noted, Your Honor, it would be highly irregular for a counselor to say, "Stop seeing your individual counselor. You must only see me." That's I've never heard of that. I think it's nonsense. So, I'm very suspect of most of what Mr. Azuara says. We can continue to, on our end, try to find somebody, but I'm kind of at a loss here.
Okay. So, Mr. Azuara, are you able to make some efforts to seek out some additional potential counselors?
Well, I have. I've been hitting the pavement. I ran through like 20 of them, and like I said, the only ones we made progress with is.
I'm looking towards the future, not the past at this moment. So, are you telling me you have zero opportunity to get a counselor involved?
No. I'm not saying that. I've had plenty of opportunity and I've been trying, and the only ones that were successful where we were able to work with insurance, get dates and sessions were, in fact, from the number that he gave me. I'm not sure why he's saying he never sent that to me.
Sir, do you want
I have it.
Want more time to attempt to try and find a counselor? Should we reconsider and do some type of safe haven?
Here's where I'm at. I've been trying, and the only time we've been successful, we shut down counseling for, I guess, at this point, religious reasons.
As the discussion continues, competing narratives emerge regarding communications with counselors. Both sides insist they acted reasonably, while disagreements over emails, recommendations, and previous interactions further complicate the process.
I'm not sure what that means or why that's important.
I've heard what everyone said has happened. Now I'm asking what you want to do moving forward.
Well, if you can, just 1 second. We had a motion. Christina filed a motion to modify the PPO so we could communicate outside of Mr. Straw on matters about Liliana. That was in front of Hesselink on April 10th. But when we got there, that wasn't the case. She actually tried to convince Judge Hesselink to put Liliana on the PPO so I could not contact her at all because it would be considered harassment.
All right. So my question was, what are we going to do moving forward?
Well, I'm willing to do whatever. I've been trying. It's a very frustrating situation. I'm not the one that's having objections to counseling.
What do you think is a reasonable course moving forward?
Well, I guess what may make some sense is just to have Christina report to the court kind of what she had done early in this process and what her perception was. But we have another issue that's completely false. Miss Sewell didn't go to a PPO hearing and try to get the child added. That she tried to get it lifted so they could communicate about the child, and Judge Hesselink said he didn't think
that is 100% inaccurate, sir. That is 100% inaccurate.
Mr. Straw did not interrupt you. You don't interrupt him, okay?
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Christina, can Your Honor, would you allow me to just ask a few questions to my client?
Sure.
Thank you. Christina, can you just give us a quick synopsis of what you had done after getting the court's order back in March of 2026?
I filed a petition with Hesselink to modify.
Attention shifts toward future solutions. The court presses for practical next steps, encouraging renewed efforts to locate a suitable counselor while attempting to move beyond accusations about past setbacks.
My PPO to open up communication with Jeremy and Liliana, to have common communication about Liliana. And Mr. Azwara, he was very frank and said he did not want to have he didn't need to talk to me anymore. He didn't want to have communications. His biggest concern, mentioned twice, he wanted his firearms back.
Okay.
That was all he was concerned about. But there was no modification of me putting Liliana on the PPO to hinder anything. I was trying to help bridge the gap together so they could communicate.
Okay, but so in regards to seeking out counselors, what have you done to date?
Oh, I have probably reached out to 15 counselors, which I ended up reaching out to Jeremy's mother, emailed her and let her know I had found 2 new ones. I didn't hear from her or him, and then I emailed you that I didn't have any correspondence. That was the beginning of May, and then that was a Brian and a Marnie, 2 separate counselors, and I have not heard from either Brian or Marnie or Jeremy at all.
And these, this Brian and Marnie, their contact information was communicated to Mr. Azwara's mother?
Yes.
Okay.
May I respond, please?
Well, I just want to know, Mr. Azwara, what do you want moving forward? Do you want some additional time to try reunification counseling? Do you think we need to instead have an evidentiary hearing? And since this reunification didn't work out, we decide it should be parenting time or not parenting time? What are your thoughts?
Actually, at this point, based on what's been said, there are blatant lies going on. I think we should have an evidentiary hearing so that way I can present all this evidence to you, because I'm not the
Testimony from the child's mother introduces another perspective. She describes her attempt to modify communication arrangements and details extensive efforts to identify qualified counselors willing to participate.
one that's I'm not the one that's misunderstanding here. So I think that would be the best. We'll just go ahead with another evidentiary hearing. I'll bring Mr. Straw's emails. I don't know how we can work on getting the transcripts of that PPO hearing, but or the motion to modify hearing. But there's no way she can say in court that she's trying to bridge the gap, but put Liliana on the PPO so I can't contact her. And she used the frame harassment. It would be harassing, and it would cause Liliana to regress. So they really, it's pretty much just contradiction. So I believe, yes, at this point, we're not going to get anywhere. It's just going to be sabotaged. She claims that she sent these new counselors to my mom.
I understand what's going on.
I understand. I'm not trying to be.
All right, Mr. Aguirre, you were all set. Mr. Schrawler, your thoughts about the next procedural step? Do I adjourn for a status conference to see if this can happen? Do I set for an evidentiary hearing to see if we make some other changes? I guess it's difficult because the court made a specific order and those things aren't happening.
Right.
But I don't know if it can happen, get the communication.
Not by me.
Well, I guess I would inquire with Mr. Azuara whether or not he received my email on May 11th with Marnie's contact information and Brian's contact information, and whether or not he ever reached out to those people. But I mean, that's the last communication I've had with Mr. Azuara was on May 11th when I forwarded along the contact information for 2 additional.
Mr. Azuara, did you follow up with those counselors that Mr. Shaw suggested?
Frustration reaches a peak as a father requests an evidentiary hearing, arguing that conflicting statements and misunderstandings require closer examination. The court carefully considers the procedural options available.
1 second. If I may,
You can answer this question, yes. Did you follow up with those counselors that Mr. Shaw sent you, he indicates about May 11th?
I believe that Marnie, I did contact prior. I remember the name, and they just didn't have the time. If there's new time available, then that's a possibility. And I'm open to anything. I just want to get this ball moving. I mean, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to get moving in the future because
right.
I feel like Mom's against it. So
specific motions filed. This is just a status conference, so I'm going to adjourn the status conference out 60 to 90 days to give the parties some additional time to work on the counseling. If there is no progress at that time, then we'll have to address where we head next. Any questions, Mr. Azuara?
no.
All right, Mr. Straw, any questions?
No, but I will represent on the record that as soon as we're done here, I'll forward along that contact information for those 2 counselors again. And hopefully Mr. Azuara can make contact with them. I am very familiar with Brian Cornett. He's a good counselor. I think he's a good candidate. I don't know Marnie Ali, but I know that we want to get something going here, and yeah, I'll leave it at that.
All right, thank you. We are all set for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next call is the matter of Janelle Wixon versus.
Ultimately, the judge declines immediate escalation and grants additional time for counseling efforts. With another status conference planned, both sides are encouraged to continue pursuing reunification before further court intervention.